Okay, so let's get going. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm glad to see all of you. I'm Sandra Watts. Let me get our screen sharing thing going here with my PowerPoint. Like I said, I'm going to go through this really quickly, and then we can get to your questions. So just a little bit, anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Sandra Watts. I work for United Policyholders, and we help people after disasters. In this case, we do a lot of things, but that's what we're doing here. I was an insurance adjuster and claims manager for 25 years, so that's where the experience that I come with. So I'm mainly here to help you with claim questions. There might be some other questions. I'm probably going to defer those a little bit, but I'm going to do my best, okay? United Policyholders, we are a nonprofit, and we work in all 50 states. California's taken up a lot of our time right now. We've been around since the Oakland Hills fire back in 1991, so we've been around for a while. We're funded with grants and donations, and there's just a small staff, and we have a lot of great volunteers who help us. Okay, keep going here. Why is it not going forward? Okay, fine print. So the workshop is intended to be general advice, not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. Those of you who know Amy know that she is a lawyer, but we do not give legal advice. So, you know, this is just general claim information for you. And if you have a legal question, we encourage you to ask your attorney. Sorry, get this situated here. Okay, and sorry I'm going so fast. I just want to get to your questions tonight. We have a big website. We're in the process of updating it and trying to make it a little bit easier, but we do have a big website. Let me go. I'm going to share a little bit with you here. Hold on. Let's go back here. Oops, sorry. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go to our website really quickly, just give you guys a quick overview just so that you can see things here. Sorry, we're going to go here. I want to, sorry, it's not. Okay, I want to get to our homepage for all of you. So those of you who are joining us for the first time, our website is uphelp.org. This is our homepage. We do have dedicated pages right here under disaster recovery help for each of the ongoing disasters. We have North Bay Fire, earthquake, Camp Fire, Woolsey Fire. Those are the main ones. So most of the information that you're going to need is going to be on your dedicated page. Sometimes you can go and look at we've got an extensive library on the North Bay fires from 2017 because we've been there for a couple years now. So if you can't find what you're looking, if you're a Camp Fire or a Woolsey Fire person and you can't find what you're looking for, look under the North Bay fires. We just don't really have enough room to put everything everywhere. So let's go back to this, go back to my PowerPoint. Sorry, I'm still getting used to jumping around. Okay, so that is the website. There is a way to find help. If you go to right here where it says find help, there's a drop-down list. Click on California, click on what you'd like, and we have attorneys, contractors, scope writers, all sorts of different people that can help you. Okay, so we're getting a lot of similar questions. I know you guys, and we started this as a Camp Fire webinar series, but we did have people asking, so we're doing all of them. These are really the questions that we're getting, a lot of claim settlement valuation questions, code upgrades, land value deductions. This week we've got a bunch of extended replacement cost questions. And then we have some claim rule adjuster questions and underinsurance. I didn't see a lot of underinsurance this week. Okay, so for those of you who have been here before, I don't know really how many of you have, but Insurance code 2051.5. That really is the code that has so much to do with these disasters. And if you Google insurance code 2051.5, you'll find it. You need to be a little bit careful. September 21st, 2018, the legislature did pass 3 different Senate and Assembly bills in California that modified, it clarified insurance code 2051.5. So some of the new provisions, unfortunately, don't apply to the North Bay Fire people. So you need to kind of just make sure you're looking at the right one, and let us know. We do have some claim rules based on which disaster you're in. Okay, so we got some, and I don't know, I might have to go through and do these sort of individually because we have so many questions that came in so late. Not necessarily late, but yesterday and today, so yes, pretty late. So what I might do is try to get these together. We had some people who were asking, you guys are just gonna have to bear with me looking at my pages. We have so many tonight that I don't have. Okay, so some of these, we've got some along the lines here. Catherine wrote in, and there's too many things for me to look at as well, so I can't tell if you're here or not, so I'm gonna assume you're here. Catherine wrote in, she wrote in some questions, but they really have to do with coverage A dwelling. So let's just talk about this. The insurance company has the obligation to determine, to investigate your claim and make a reasonable effort to determine the cost to rebuild your property. As you guys know, a lot of those estimates that they come up with fall short. I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame that people are having to, they're having to pay to get estimates. But really, if you're at a place where you and your insurance company don't agree on what the cost to rebuild your property is, then you're probably going to have to get an estimate. So I'm just going to go quickly through 2051.5. Basically, it says that if you need a payment for a loss, the measure of indemnity, that's basically a fancy word for how much do they owe you. It's the amount it would cost to repair, rebuild, or replace the house you lost. And those of you who have talked to me know I say that over and over again, but it's still something that people have a hard time wrapping their head around when they're talking about like buying a new house or building a different house, so forth. So the amount you owe is based on the cost to rebuild your home you lost plus code upgrades up to the policy limit. Okay, if you haven't been paid everything that they owe you, which means coverage A limit, your code upgrade coverage, your extended replacement coverage, if you haven't been paid all of that, and that's probably most of you because most of the people who've been paid all of that wouldn't have a need to come here, you might need to get an estimate to determine what it would cost to rebuild your prior home, even if you have no intention of rebuilding it, okay? Because that determines the pot of money that you have, okay? Then when they pay you, and this, I'm gonna skip over this a little bit, you guys can come back. There's a whole workshop that we did, a live workshop. We did one in Sonoma County, one in Chico, that is called Scoop on Scope. So we've done 2 of those. They are recorded and they are on your landing page. It will step you step by step how you get to an agreed upon scope with your insurance company. Okay. So we're going to go there. So replacement costs. So I have some questions on actual cash value and replacement costs. So basically, the way it works is they owe you actual cash value of your damaged property until that property is repaired, rebuilt, or replaced, okay? So that's why your insurance company gives you a chunk of money up front and says, okay, well, when you rebuild or replace, then we'll give you the rest, okay? They are allowed to do that. One of the things that we're researching with some attorneys right now is a lot of the companies aren't paying that extended replacement cost as part of ACV. And if you read it, it doesn't say, unless the policy says you have to incur it in order to be paid. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going so fast. But the policy does say under your extended replacement costs that you have to incur it, and the codes too, you have to incur it before you get it. However, with extended replacement cost, if your actual cash value, your replacement cost less depreciation, if it's over your coverage A limits, then my position is that they owe you that amount, the full ACV, even if it goes into your extended coverage. A lot of the companies are holding it back just because that's how it's usually done. So I think that that's probably wrong. Now they can hold back code upgrades. Code upgrades they can hold back because it's not part of actual cash value. Actual cash value is what you lost, the replacement cost of what you lost, less depreciation. Code upgrades are on top of that. They're not part of your actual cash value. So, so that's there. Okay, so let's see. Let's get to Vicky. Vicky asked, my insurance company is saying they need to have my rebuild plans and costs before they will pay me the full amount. Aren't they supposed to pay me for what I lost and not what I'm building? If I lost a house worth much more, or what if I lost a house worth much more than the one I am going to build? Okay. So that's the ACV. This is a really good question, and I have another one that's on the same fire. Catherine talks about once you have your insurance proceeds in hand, you know, what can you do? What if I build a house that's less? Okay, so you have your replacement cost of your house, okay? And then they take off some depreciation, they pay you the actual cash value. The reason that they do that is historically, that's how insurance policies started. They used to only be actual cash value. And if you think about it, auto insurance policies are like that now. So think about it. So say you have a 1975 Pinto, right? So when you get into an accident, assuming you're insured, you don't get a brand new car. Well, they don't make Pintos, so that was a bad example. But you don't get a brand new car. You get the actual cash value of what you lost. So house insurance started out that way too. You only were, so that's putting you back exactly where you were. Well, marketing plans and people, you know, having to come up with the difference, insurance companies then started selling these replacement cost policies. It says, well, we'll give you even more than exactly what you lost. We'll pay to rebuild your house. It's like buying you a new car. Okay, so that's really important. So when you have your ACV, that's what you lost. So if you have an ACV payment, and you can do whatever you want with it. You don't have to repair, you don't have to replace, you don't have to do anything. And well, there's some mortgage issues there, but if you leave those aside, that's what you lost. That's what you're entitled to up front. And so if you want to pocket those proceeds, that's fine. You can deal with the tax implications, pay off your mortgage, whatever you're going to do, that's fine. It's a little bit different with replacement cost benefits. Replacement cost benefits do say that you have to spend them in order to get them. And that's because it's, for a while in the old days when they were first introduced, they called it betterment. Okay, so you're getting something better than what you lost. Okay, so think about, say the carpeting in your house. Say your carpeting was 20 years old all throughout your house and your house is gone. Well now, so they'll pay you for that 20-year-old carpet. That's the actual cash value. But when you go in, you can't buy 20-year-old carpet. So when you go and buy new carpet, they're going to pay you that difference. And now you have better carpet than when you started out. So that betterment, you really have to spend it. And there have been some case laws, and the Department of Insurance have come out and said, look, you know, you don't get that betterment. You don't get to profit from your insurance claim, okay? The ACV you lost something in exchange for that, but the betterment or that replacement cost benefit, that's a product. Think of it as a product, so you don't get that. Vicky, they are, technically, if they're only holding replacement cost benefits, then they can hold them until you do your plans or sign a contract. Technically, they can do it until you actually spend it, but most of them, then you can't you can't take it. Okay, so sorry, I'm a little scattered here. So Vicki, if you lost a house more than the one you're going to rebuild, you get your ACV up front, but you're only going to get what you spend. So we encourage people, if you've got the insurance benefits, spend them, because otherwise you're just leaving them with the insurance company, okay? And I understand some people want to downsize and so forth, but we do recommend, even if you end up selling the house later, try to spend all those replacement cost benefits. Okay, and then Catherine, once your insurance proceeds are in hand, does your insurance company have any control over what you do with them? No, not really. Your mortgage company might have a say in it, but your insurance company, you can build whatever you want, okay? It doesn't matter. She says, I know you can rebuild or purchase a replacement home, but you couldn't downsize or purchase a replacement home of lesser value. Okay, so hopefully, Catherine, I've answered that. You can't profit from that. Her next question, can you remodel an existing home with the insurance proceeds? Yes, you can. So if you buy a house that's less expensive, for whatever reason, market situations or whatever, you can take those replacement cost benefits and upgrade the house, bring it up to code, make it nicer, whatever, you can do that. Can this existing home be a home you already own? No, it really can't. There's just too many things involved. You need to buy a different house because you already own it, so you can't just keep the money. Would a downsizer lesser value rule apply? Yeah, no, you can't use your existing home. Is there a time frame to rebuild or replace the home? We'll get to that. Okay. Can you pocket all or some of the insurance proceeds? So we hit that. And I'm going to get to the time frames a little bit later. Okay, so hopefully that kind of helped. Okay, and I'm going to hit some of these here too when they're on the same topic. So Danette asked, I would like to recover the full amount of our insurance policy. We have 150% replacement cost, and we'd like to receive that money to purchase a home outside of Butte County. So you're 100% entitled to do that, and I've got some buyer rebuild slides coming up, Danette. You can totally do that. You have to determine what was the amount that it would cost to rebuild the home you lost plus code upgrades. That's how much you can take and put toward any house anywhere, okay? And I'll show you that a little bit, Danette, but that should get you that. Now, they might not give it to you all up front, your replacement cost benefits, but you should come to an agreement and say, we have X amount of money, and you're gonna get this much now, and you're gonna have this much available. A lot of them pay it in escrow. So hopefully that will work. Oh, my mouse is doing weird things. Okay, Julie's asking, hi Sandy, if you are buying instead of rebuilding, can you use your dwelling payment to cover closing costs on a new house? Sales tax, inspections, yes. You should talk to your adjuster, but yes, it's all the cost to rebuild the house. It's just like getting plans and permits to rebuild. Those closing costs, all those inspections. She's asking about repairs on the new house to meet your old house's standards. You can exceed your old house's standards. The key is how much do you have to spend getting that upfront, an agreement, and going from there, okay? So yeah, you can use all that money for all those things. And I really encourage you guys to try to enter into a discussion with your adjuster. Do that first. Talk to them, ask them all these questions, and then if you reach an impasse, then seek some help, okay? Let me just look on here. We've got some PG&E questions. I'm not sure if we're going to get to those PG&E questions because they're a little bit outside of my specialty, but I'll try if we get to the end. Okay, so time limit. So that is one of the questions here. So 2051.5, if you are in the Tubbs fire, technically you have 24 months, but they can extend it. If you're in the Camp Fire, they can't have a time limit of less than 36 months. And it's from the date of the first payment, okay? And there's some language that talks about them extending this. And this PowerPoint, all of it, I know I'm going fast, but this PowerPoint will be up. It's pretty much the same one from last week, so you can go and look. But this will still be up, so you don't have to worry about writing it down yet. Okay, looking at this, sorry. Okay, so there's some language about the insurer can give you additional time. And if you need more time, ask for it, okay? This is the section that talks about if you're working in good faith or if you've got some things that happened that caused a delay, write to them. Please do it in writing. You can call them on the phone, but make sure you follow up in writing. And just ask them for additional time, okay? So that, it's just to pay those benefits. And this is Catherine's last question, a time frame to rebuild, purchase a house, or remodel, okay? And she says, if so, who establishes the timeline? Well, this timeline is established by 2051.5, okay? Okay. So buyer rebuild, these are these are all the things you can do. You can buy a house on the same lot. Those are all those. Hold on, I'm just resorting here. I've got an extended replacement coverage question here. So this is Angela. My policy provides extended replacement coverage 150%. I was underinsured and I told AAA I'm planning to rebuild. They've already paid it and now she's uncertain. So this is, Angela, you don't have to pay it back. If you're really underinsured, and they paid you your extended replacement coverage up front, we can pretty much assume that your actual cash value, okay, that ACV payment exceeded both the coverage A limit and the extended replacement coverage limit. So I think that that's fine. They wouldn't have made that decision to pay the ERC. Well, you know, they paid ACV, so I think you're fine because you're underinsured, okay? So, and I'm sorry, land value. Got another one here. Let's see what this one says. This is John. John has a nationwide policy. And he got his ACV payment, it looks like. Law and ordinance and 50% extended. And they haven't received any additional funds. And they're being told that the additional reimbursement comes only when the reconstruction is finished. So in the meantime, you have to finance. You know what I would do on this, John, is I would make sure that you've got a reasonable actual cash value payment. Like I said, I don't think they have the basis, and Nationwide's a little tough, but I don't think that they have the basis to hold back ERC if your actual cash value goes into that area. So I would talk to them about that, and I would talk to them about you know, having to finance those costs, because it seems to me like they can do some sort of progress payment. And if you keep getting, like if you're working and you're having to finance it and so forth, I would maybe seek the Department of Insurance's assistance, maybe do a request for there. And it also looks like John's probably a Tubbs fire survivor. Says we still don't have a replacement house inside the 2-year ALE provision. Nationwide has declined to add more time. If you're a Tubbs fire survivor, I'm sorry, they have no legal obligation to extend your ALE past the 24 months. I would put it in writing and ask them. There's no harm in asking. The insurance commissioner asks them to voluntarily extend it, especially the ones that have limits on ALE, like a money limit. Those people are having a good results asking for them to extend it. The people who have no monetary limit are having a really hard time. So if you don't have a monetary limit, like if you State Farm, some of these nationwide policies, I don't think that they're going to extend it. You can try to work with the Department of Insurance, but they really don't have much recourse on that. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going through here. Here's the last ERC question we have. This is Deb. Sorry, won't say your last name. Okay. For my homeowner's policy, I have extended replacement costs at 25%. Is there a way on how to receive the full amount if I don't have enough money for rebuild? So, like I said, you might need to pay to get an estimate of the house you lost. All of these options, every single person except for the people who were paid all their limits up front are going to need to know how much it would cost to rebuild the house they lost, plus the code upgrades up to the policy limit. So, and then she's using some content money to bring the rebuild up to the standard. And sometimes you have to do that, and then when they pay you, you can replace your content money. So hopefully we answered that question for you. Okay. And just go through these. Okay. I'm going to go through some ALE questions here. I've got a few esoteric questions. I've got some ALE questions that I'm going to go through. Let's see what's going on here. So Brad or Angela, how long can my claim remain open? How long can the claim stay open if we're still negotiating a settlement? Is it a fixed time or a variable amount of time? I'm not sure which disaster that you're with. If you're North Bay, it's 24 months. Ask for extensions. They can give it to you. If you're Paradise, it's 36 months. But technically, when your claim is open, like the big thing about a closed claim is the right to sue. So if you reach an impasse, you want to make sure that your window, if you're going to have to hire an attorney and maybe file a lawsuit, you want to make sure that window's open. It's 2 years now from the date they close the claim. So you're going to be okay there. If you need additional time to rebuild, and we're not really talking about ALE here, we're talking about those replacement cost benefits, negotiating a settlement, that can just kind of go on. You know, sometimes it goes on for a long time. Obviously, additional living expenses would be the main issue because you're sort of burning those while you're negotiating your claim. There is an argument to be made if your insurance company delays the settlement. If, like, say you get an estimate, it's a good estimate, you turn it in, and they take 6 months before they review it and pay you for it, there's an argument to be made there that you can extend your ALE because they were dragging their feet. So we've got some information on that on our website. Okay, Angela, I hope, and Brad, I hope I answered that for you. Okay. So Kathy's asking, do I have to prove I'm rebuilding in order to have my ALE benefits paid up into the anniversary date? 10/9/19. And she's got a traveler's policy with a California rider, which I don't have memorized, but I mean, it's all over the board on that, Kathy. you know, if they're asking you, then you should show some progress. But if they're not asking you, I mean, what is it? It's already August, so you've got 2 more months. I think you could probably give them enough to get you through that. So I don't think you necessarily have to prove you're rebuilding. I think you have to prove you're moving forward in some way. So there's a lot of creative ways to do that. Okay. Okay, so let's get into these ALE questions. This one here, Patrice is here, and she says her house is an absolute mess during the construction. My insurance said they'll only give ALE if there's no water and no power. Can they deny ALE? Patrice, go back and read your policy, because most of the policies say that they will pay if a loss insured, so you've got a fire, right, causes the residence premises to become uninhabitable, then they'll pay the reasonable amount of time that it costs to repair or replace the part that's damaged. So if you've got a construction zone in your house and your kitchen and everything's all that, I think the key in yours is it uninhabitable and why? So first off, read that ALE section of your policy, and secondly, talk to them about why your home is uninhabitable, and then how long has it been going on. So if it's like, say, a $5,000 repair and it's been going on for 6 months, then yeah, they can cut it off. But if you've got a huge, you've got a huge cleanup, you've got a, I don't know, mess during construction is hard for me because there's a lot of reasons you could have a mess. Some are legitimate, many are, some aren't. So it just sort of depends. But if your home is uninhabitable, then they should continue up to the time or money limit. Okay, Patrice? Okay. Okay, so Vic has written in, and this is a really common thing here. Let's see if we, Okay, this, and I'll just breeze over this before I get into ALE. This slide has to do with what they have to pay you, okay, and how they measure it up. So we've gone over that before. Buying versus rebuilding, okay. Can I buy a house for less money? Okay. I'll get to the land value issue in a minute. So let's hit this ALE. Our Vic's property has not been cleared yet. It's scheduled for late September. Doesn't know how much, if he can get insurance and how much it would cost. Neighbors don't know what to do. And basically what he's talking about is the uncertainty. And the Paradise people really, I mean, you've got infrastructure issues, water issues. I mean, there's just a lot. I agree with you. And Vic's saying he knows he's responsible to make progress, but there's so many unanswered questions. How much time do we reasonably have to move forward before losing our ALE, and are there guidelines? I think that you just need to articulate, I mean, your lot isn't cleared yet. You don't have really any control over how fast FEMA, Cal OES, the county, whatever, how fast they're clearing lots. So if your lot's not cleared yet, I would work in the meantime on trying to reach an agreement with your insurer so you know how much money they owe you, so you can work on that while your place is getting cleared, so that when it is cleared, then you're going to say, hey, look, I know how much I'm owed. I'm owed the cost to rebuild the home I lost, plus code upgrades if you have that coverage, up to the policy limits. So if you're working on that while your lot's being cleared, then you're going to be in a position to make a decision when the time comes. So I would really talk to your adjusters, send emails and say, hey, these are the things we're looking at. Here are our issues. And if they give you a hard time, talk to them about these things. I really, it's going to be hard for them on these total losses to cut people off for quite a long time. Okay. Ray asked, and Ray's from Sonoma County, how can we get an ALE extension? I kind of talked about that. He's asking about the insurance commissioner's request. So the insurance commissioner did put out a request for the Sonoma County fires. Eisenberg is filing a lawsuit. You guys, I think it's going to be really tough. The policy says a certain amount of time. The law limited it to 24 months during that time, and I think it's going to be a tough battle. I don't know how the legal the proceedings are going to go. I'm not a lawyer. I think that, you know, I think it's an uphill battle. But I would, I would probably talk to an attorney about that if you're in Sonoma County. Okay. And then we have another one. This is Mark. He's talking about regarding the ALE extension to 3 years. Mark, you don't say which fire you're in. So I just answered the Sonoma County fire. I have heard that some of the insurers are taking the position that the Paradise fire only gets 2 years. That is very clearly not the case. And if you go to the Sonoma County, the 2017 fires, and you read the notice that the insurance commissioner published about voluntary extending of ALE for the 2017 fires, it's very clear that their position is that the Paradise people have up to 36 months if they're making progress. So I think if you're in Paradise, you're going to be okay on that. Then we have Jacques. All of a sudden, our insurance is not paying our monthly rent or lease agreement. I started inquiring on 7/23 and it wasn't paid. And it might be approved by 8/15. What recourse do we have? So, you know, there's a lot, Jacques, of variables here, whether you're a total loss or a partial loss, because it does make a difference in terms of reasonable amount of time to get your work done. So I think it's good. You've filed a complaint or a request for assistance with the insurance department. So I would circle back. I would go to one of the things that makes me worry about this is that they say it might be approved by 8/15. So here's the deal, you guys. Insurance adjusters have certain amounts of authority, settlement authority. So you can pay, you know, they can pay up to X amount without getting money from management, okay? As the claim gets bigger, it has to go farther up the management ladder for them to get money. So I think that could be the case. It could be that they had to submit it to get some extra authority. So if that's the case, I would just ask your adjuster, like, what's the holdup? Well, why haven't you paid it? We've got to pay our rent every month. And find out. And if they say, oh, I sent it in for authority, then let's just make sure that next month it's in for authority beforehand. So I think Jacques, or Jackie, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I think that's probably it. Okay, I missed one here on repairs. Lori is talking about a standing home. It's still smoky. The insurance company is requiring us to move into the home, which still smells of smoke. In addition, there's no water in Paradise. The insurance company has offered to provide a water tank and a pump. Yes, they can do all of those things at a certain point. I would focus, Lori, on getting your house de-smoked, you know, having maybe a hygienist come in and test the house and see if there's still smoke. If you've had you really should have a reputable restoration company come in and do a real smoke protocol. One of the things that I've been seeing is that they've been sort of paying for just like cleaning, like house cleaning, like heavy dusting. That does not clean a house of smoke. So I'm not sure why your house still smells of smoke. I would ask your adjuster to do a reinspection and have them, hey, look, it still smells of smoke. If you have to, hire your own hygienist to test the indoor air quality to see if there really is smoke. Now, there might be some ambient smell from, you know, depending, it should be going away here pretty soon, but if the things around you have been burned. But yeah, so that, and they can put a water tank and pump in to offset the ALE, and a lot of people are doing that. And yes, it's something that they can do. I would work with them, you know, and talk to them about that. Lori also has a question about mileage. Her husband's work. Sorry, I'm gonna turn off my dinger here. My husband's work is, he used to be in Paradise and now he's driving a lot farther. He has to go to Oroville for work. And yes, you should be reimbursed for the increased mileage. So say if mileage is part of additional living expenses. So say you drove 10 miles every day, now you have to drive 20 miles every day, you get the increased amount, okay? So turn that in, you can calculate what he's spent since the beginning. So you can go back and make that claim, okay, Lori? Okay, we're getting through here. This is good. So we've got a couple of land value issues, so let's hit these. We're going. Okay, here's the deal on land value, you guys. Your insurance company owes you, it's an unsettled area of law, okay? And some of the insurers, if you're buying a replacement home, we're gonna do a paper on this. We're gonna do a standalone paper and post it on our website here in the near future. The cost, so the insurance companies, when you buy a replacement house, they're like, okay, well, we're going to deduct the land that's under the house, and because you get to sell your other land. Well, it doesn't necessarily, they don't necessarily line up. The policy doesn't say they can do it, okay? That's our position. The policy says they don't insure for land. And that's what the insurance company, when I tell people, I said, make them send you a denial letter, right? If they're really gonna deduct for land, they should do that. And they're gonna send you the thing that says, we do not insure for the following things, and this is land. Your response to that is, we're not making a claim for land. We're making a claim for the house we lost. We're entitled to indemnity for the house we lost. This is gonna have to be litigated, you guys, and unfortunately it'll be too late. Let's see here. So, you know, they can do it. I mean, we think you should push back, but the fact of the matter is, they can probably do it right now. So Diana was asking, please explain land deduction on lost property. So there's no land value deduction on lost property. You get to sell that land. If you're going to move, you get to sell that land. And actually an equitable way would be maybe if they deducted from land or I don't know, took the amount you get of the sales price. They don't relate to each other. The land under your new home and the land under your old home do not relate to each other. Is the land value of the destroyed property, this is Diana, calculated by the insurance company? No. They don't pay any attention to it because you're not making a claim for it. There's no coverage for it. Is a deduction of land on the old property carried to the purchase of another property? Also no. So here, you know, here's what we say, you know, we do pushback. They're saying, you know, it's a windfall. We're saying no. If you have $500,000 in settlement money and you go and buy a $500,000 property and they deduct, say, $100,000 for land, you're getting a house that's worth $100,000 less than what you had. And then if you go and buy a $600,000 house, then you have to either finance or cough up that other $100,000. So that is really why we think that it's an unfair position, but it is going to have to be litigated. There's no case law, there's no statute, there's nothing on that right now. We didn't get much on underinsurance, but we have these slides if you want to look at them. Let me see right here. This is long. This is Laura. So she's having a long time getting her coverages paid. Laura, I'm going to answer you via email, okay? Because you've got a lot of questions here. They're kind of long and they're a little bit different. So let's do this. Okay, so claim handling standards. We've got some questions on that. So really, these are the key issues. If you Google, see right here, California Fair Claims Settlement Practices Act. If you Google that, the Department of Insurance has the full regulations on the website. There's a table of contents. It's fairly easy to figure out, to find what you're doing. But these are the big ones. They have 15 days to respond. So if you send them an email saying, what about this? They have 15 days to write you back. If you submit an estimate, they have 40 days to pay it or deny it. If they're not able to do that, they have to send you a letter saying why can't they make a decision, how long do they need to make a decision, and so forth. And I would hold their feet to the fire on this, you guys. So I think that that's a really, and Van is with Fair Plan, and that applies to Fair Plan too, Van. So look and see, you're just saying, is there any way to make a move faster? You've got a public adjuster. Your public adjuster is certainly aware of these practices. So sometimes, you know, somebody will turn something in and, you know, there's a reason why it's taking longer. So, so that could be it. But I'd talk to your public adjuster. Okay, where else are we here? Yeah, keep your adjuster's feet to the fire. Some of them are for other states. They don't know what's going on. Some of them for here and don't know what's going on. And then these are our best practices. Get everything in writing. If you have a phone conversation and they promise you something, memorialize it. Send them an email saying, based on our conversation, this is what I understand. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Try to be professional, you know, avoid venting frustrations. I know it's very frustrating situations in a lot of cases. Here's the Department of Insurance. They can help you with quite a few things. They can't help you with everything, but they can help you with quite a few things. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, Vicky, I'm living on a lot in Paradise in an RV. I'm paying him rent. Okay, good. Just got a bill from PG&E for the electrical bill. Yep, and that can be paid by ALE. So your increased cost to maintain your standard of living. I would also say that living in an RV isn't maintaining your standard of living. So, you know, that's another issue. But yes, the bill, you can show them what you usually spend, show them what you're spending now, and they should pay the difference. So that is, they'll only pay the difference. They'll pay over and above what you normally spend, Vicky. So that you shouldn't have any problem with that, hopefully, okay? Yeah, and they pay you and you pay the biller, you pay PG&E or whoever, okay? Okay, Christine clarified that her house is standing, but she has a large amount of damage. So yeah, if you have a large amount of damage, your ALE you should push to keep it going, okay? Okay, Christine. Okay, so this is the one where she's saying they're making her move back into the smoky house. I was shocked at how little they awarded me for each problem. The values are determined by zip code. The larger ticket items have been delayed until I get specialists to submit the fire damage in writing. You might want to consider hiring a public adjuster or something like that, Christine. I don't know. It's hard to say what they're doing. I can't really get, maybe we can talk about that. But they should pay you the actual cash value of your repairs. So I'm not sure. And zip code, that's the price list that they use in Xactimate. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. So maybe we can do some follow-up, Christine. Okay, so I've just got a few more here. One is CP. Insurance is paid to rehab the cousin's house. The couple's fighting over how to spend it. Are there any tools to ensure that the proceeds are reinvested? Probably the mortgage company here, CP. The mortgage company is going to make you fix your house. If there's no mortgage on the property, then unfortunately, the couple has to battle it out, whatever they have to do, because if there's no mortgage company, the homeowner's responsible for fixing it. So sorry about that. We have Bruce is saying, one of your volunteers read the AAA policy in fine detail and informed me that it states the house must be insured to 100% of its rebuild cost in order for the extended coverage that extended replacement coverage of 150% to cover the actual costs. Who determines what the rebuild costs are? AAA, someone else? I would say a combination. AAA could do it. Bruce, I'm not sure. I have yet to see a co-insurance. This is called a co-insurance clause. I haven't seen anybody enforcing it in any of these disasters. So this is what I would tell you, Bruce, is don't worry about it unless they say something, and then you need to get you know, the rebuild cost. But I haven't seen anybody enforce this, so don't worry about it unless they enforce it. Okay, we're down. We have, I'm gonna answer that. We have only 2 more here. Okay, Vicky's asked a question. I'm not sure if I understand your question, Vicky, but she's talking about insurance coverage transition. So what I'm assuming is your insurance policy. They're charging the same amount, but there's no house there. Go to your agent, talk to them about it, and see if they'll knock it down, the coverage A amount, which should in turn knock your premium down. But you're going to have to talk to your agent about that. You shouldn't be paying, like, say you have a $500,000 house, you've been paying insurance on that, you know, whatever amount, but now you have no house. These companies probably should have been adjusting your premium on a pro rata, you know, like from the date of the fire, but a lot of them haven't. So go talk to your agent about the fact that there's no house. Most of these policies have like a minimum amount that they will adjust the policy down to, that will lower your premium. So I would suggest that, Vicki. Okay. Last one on these, and this is David. Hold on, sorry, I'm gonna move this so I can see what's going on. David said, we were sold a traveler's wraparound policy. So let me tell you what those are, you guys. In areas where there's big fire risk, they're sending a lot of these policies to the FAIR Plan, California FAIR Plan. It's a quasi-government program, and it's insurance of last resort. It's like if no one else will insure the house because of the, you know, where it's located, the FAIR Plan comes in and it only covers fire. So he was sold a wraparound policy. So the wraparound policy is so FAIR Plan is fire. The wraparound policy covers everything but fire. So we set much higher coverage limits for it on dwelling since the FAIR Plan. So the FAIR Plan has some low coverage limits. So they upped their other fire, and now, I'm sorry, their other limits. And after the Woolsey fire, you found out that there was an endorsement that excluded coverage for fire damage. And it says a little known endorsement, but that's kind of the whole point, is that the traveler's policy excludes. Is there anything we can do to get travelers to pay us for the total loss of our home and personal property? David, I would probably consult with an attorney. These wraparound policies, maybe talk to somebody about going against your broker. I don't know. This is a tough one because those policies are sold specifically because they exclude fire coverage. So it could be that your agent didn't explain it to you, or so forth. So I would probably consult an attorney on that. Okay, so I have 2 more questions in my queue, 3 more questions in my queue here. James asked, does anybody know of a source which tracks client satisfaction with their insurance company after losing their home? You can go to the Department of Insurance website, and they do have statistics on complaints, and how many were determined to be justified complaints. But yeah, there is also, and I'm not going to come up with it, there's an outside company. I'm a claims person, so forgive me on this, but there's an outside company that does some rating. I'm not sure, you know, how good they are, but there is a complaint section of the Department of Insurance website, and if you Google like rating of insurance company, you might get something on there. Yeah, and I don't think you're going to get anything, James, that's specific to these fires. It's going to be pretty much anecdotal. Sorry about that. we're really pushing for a little bit more transparency from these insurance carriers, getting, you know, so we'll go from there. Okay, Brad and Angela, I filed a claim on a PG&E website for some fire-related personal property. I got a letter from PG&E saying I had to refile that claim before October 21st. They said it's because of the bankruptcy. Yeah, talk to your attorney about that. So if you have an attorney, talk to them. I'm not really, I mean, I know that the filing deadlines are coming up in October 21st, but I don't know about refiling. I'm sorry about that, guys. I just talked to the attorney you hired on that. Okay, Brad and Angela, new website, fire assistance. I'm gonna write this down. File for assistance against PG&E. The deadline is November 15th. I don't know what that is. I'm aware of the October deadline. So I would just, anybody who's interested, I'll look at this wildfire assistance program. I would, again, you guys ask your attorney what's going on with that. Sorry, I can't help you with that. Okay, William, my adjuster told me that they would have to approve the replacement house that I want to purchase. No, okay, wrong. You do not have to buy a house of the same size in the same area. Okay, these things kill me. Same garage, same. No, you do not, William. Market value and replacement cost have no bearing on each other. Okay, so if you're 2051.5, that there's a slide in there that talks about you get. I'm sorry, it just makes me crazy. This is not true. If they persist on this, William, you can buy whatever you want. If you have to spend the money, that's really it. You can buy any house you want. And think about it. So your house, your cost to rebuild your house is based upon, you know, wood and labor and all that stuff. So that's how you determine what they owe you. Well, then you go buy a replacement house. Say you want to move somewhere. Say you want to move to San Francisco. I live in a small house that costs way too much for how big it is. So the market value doesn't have anything to do with the replacement value. They cannot force you. So what if the market goes way up in the time after the fire? This is I think a Woolsey loss. Woolsey. The market doesn't have anything to do with the replacement cost. So what if prices tanked? You could buy a much bigger house. You could buy, so do not let them persist on that, William. And if they do, that's a perfect thing to request the Department of Insurance assistance. And you can go, we have a buy or rebuild publication on our website. Just put it in our search bar, buy or rebuild. Sometimes you have to scroll through, but it's going to show you that you don't have to do that. JT asked concerning litigation. Earlier you said we have 2 years from the date the claim was closed. What if you need to litigate to get them settled? That's just your cutoff time. From the time that they close the claim, you have 2 years from that date. You can do it sooner. It's just the cutoff, okay? So let's see. We have some hands raised, so let's do this. Attendees, okay. So JT, and we're gonna have to go. I have to go in just a minute. I'm gonna allow JT to talk real quick. Unmute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead, JT. Let's go kind of fast.
You answered my question just there on the last question that you did answer. So I'm good there. I do want to know, doesn't litigation change your time frames if you litigate, if you get attorney in on it before you settle your claim? Doesn't it do something?
Yes, it does extend it. They can't cut it off while you're in the middle of litigation. So yeah, that does extend it.
Okay, that's it.
And your attorney should be able to help you with that. So.
All right. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Ernie, you're next. How you doing, Ernie? Let me unmute you. Can you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, good. Can everybody hear? Okay, go ahead.
So you've basically said that anyone that was a victim of the 2017 fire is pretty much out of luck, subject to the humanitarian response from any insurance company based on the California Insurance Commissioner's plea for an extension
Of ALE?
for ALE.
Yes.
And I spoke with my adjuster today, and she said, please write, and I will be obligated to respond. But at this point, they're standing to their 24-month provision by carrier State Farm. State Farm has been absolutely fantastically wonderful, period. End of quote. I would not change. They've been really great. So I'm going to write a letter, and I'm not sure if any humanitarian plea based on information that has been available will change anyone's mind. So
Okay.
I'm going to write, and I did ask earlier, do you have a sample letter? And I did find it on your website, thank you. So based on this webinar, it really sounds like the 2017 people are out of luck, period. There is no obligation for the insurance companies.
Yeah, and I think State Farm has got a very strong position on that. And aside from them making a voluntary decision, I think that they have the correct interpretation of what the law was and what their policy was as the date of your fire. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. I attended this webinar in hopes that there might be some glimmer of hope, but it also sounded to me like, if you can express due diligence, et cetera, then perhaps there might be some basis for them to respond.
Yeah.
But obligated.
I mean, it's always worth a shot. We tell everybody, line it out, write a letter and say, hit every obstacle that you faced as you went through your process, and just ask. You're never gonna make a mistake by asking. And if you line out, well, here I had this obstacle, So you're fortunate in that State Farm handled your claim well and promptly, which is great. I don't get a ton of complaints from them. I'm an ex-State Farmer myself. That's who I worked for 25 years.
Okay.
The only time that people really have a hope with getting additional ALE, and I've seen State Farm do this, is if they delayed the settlement, the actual cash value settlement. So say they took 4 months or 5 months to get you that first payment in your hand, or you sent in your rebuild estimate and it took them X amount of time to get back to you for no real good reason. If they have a good reason, then they're allowed to do that. But so sometimes things fall through the cracks. So say you're just sitting there chilling and they haven't settled your claim. I have seen State Farm and other insurers, and you say, look, this didn't happen because of me. This happened because I was waiting for you. And sometimes that they will extend it because of that. And
Yes.
you just have to sort of be,
Well, like I said, they've been very good, and they settled coverage A really fast. And then it was just a matter of getting county clearance to rebuild, and then us restoring infrastructure, and then securing services for contractors, rebuild, architecture, all whatnot. And then just recently going to the county, and the county rejecting our plans because we didn't have something that wasn't on their checklist. So I will write a letter just to demonstrate that it's not like we've been dragging our feet, because I imagine there are some people that have done nothing. But our personal property was filed, really quickly. Our coverage A was covered very quickly. Personal property was covered quickly. Everything was covered quickly. State Farm has been outstanding in this regard. But on this particular matter, I'm kind of having to leverage. I've been a State Farm subscriber for 30 plus years, and it's not like I'm screwing around here. And hopefully in these times when there's all kinds of other shit going on, from my heart of hearts, we're doing our best, but we've run out of time, and now I'm running out of time. And what are you going to do for me?
Right. Yeah, that's what I would suggest. Just try.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, Christine, and this is going to have to be our last question. Sorry, guys. Let me get Christine on here. We are going to do one more webinar. I'm going to go on vacation. But next Tuesday, which I believe is the 20th, we are going to do one more. We just announced it today. So, Christine. Okay, Christine, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Go ahead.
So one of my main concerns was when I evacuated and then returned to my home, all my fences, CAL FIRE had literally driven their truck through my fence to help save my home, and I'm eternally grateful.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 German Shepherds, and I was very concerned that I would not be able to contain them. They're just not a breed that should wander the neighborhood. So
Right.
I boarded them, and I had trouble even finding a place, but I boarded them for 6 weeks. There was no one around. Everybody was in crisis, and it took me that long to have somebody come over and help me get the fences back up. So I submitted the claim as a loss of use, but my adjuster said that they don't cover pets. But I tried to explain to her that this is not about a pet. It's basically about my yard. And I don't know if I'm right on this. Or...
You know, it's interesting. They don't cover pets, but you're not making a claim for a pet. You're,
Right.
you know, it is interesting. What insurance company is that?
AAA.
Huh? Because they vary. I have other claims where they pay to board pets. So I think you need to escalate that.
Okay.
That is a common additional living expense.
Okay.
But, oh, wait. Did you stay in your house?
Yes.
That's why. That's why. The language says a loss insured causes the residence premises. So they denied it. It's probably not covered, but they denied it incorrectly.
Oh.
So
Okay.
it's a loss insured causes the residence premises to become uninhabitable. Then they pay your increased cost to maintain your standard of living. So what they do is if your house is uninhabitable, they pay to put you up. And if you have pets, they either have to find a place that, you know, maintain your standard of living, take your pets with you, which is reasonable. Or if they can't find it, then they board your pets. But if your house was not uninhabitable, it doesn't trigger the ALE. So I don't think it's covered, but she used the wrong way of doing it.
Okay. So maybe I can negotiate with her?
I would try. I would ask again.
Okay.
You know, especially if you were evacuated for a while. I would, for that period of evacuation, I would try that.
Okay.
I would, you know, because that's denying it for not covering pets is not the right denial.
Okay. And truthfully, when I got back into my home, I actually did want to go somewhere else because I had no heat or no way to cook, no running water. And my dogs were with me. And the reason that I came back home is because I didn't know where to take them, basically, where I could be with them. So I had to board them. It was a tough choice, but
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. And I appreciate very much all your information.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about the glare here tonight. It's very sunny here in San Francisco. But thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Everyone. And we will do another one. Also on our website, if any of you guys are having trouble placing insurance, we do have a survey. We're trying to get our arms around how easy it is for people to replace their insurance if they lose it, these fire areas. So there is a survey on our home page that you could help us out and give us some more statistics on that. So I hope I got everybody's question. It's 7:15. I think I answered everybody's question. Send us an email if I missed it somehow. I apologize. I got a lot of them and I was kind of scrambling today. So hopefully that helps. We'll post this on the website. Sorry again about the glare. And everybody have a great evening. Okay, thanks.